was a hard reading.
I wonder if I've got time to grab
I'm
something
really
to
going
eat
through it. I hope I get him some help.
Really have to.
Oh man, I gotta eat. I haven't eaten all day. God, it's 4 o'clock. Next
Really
reading,
want to get
last
that
one.
video done
Okay.
Before the predictions happen, before I get the video out to anyone. And here we go again. How are you, Laurie?
All right. How are you?
I'm good. I think we're both being hit about now. There is a solar storm going on. Another one that we've just realised has been happening.
Yeah, it's hit me right between the eyes.
Yeah. That is not good. Yeah. It's going to be an energetically exhausting couple of days, I am sure. Anyway, we're here to bring some love and light and laughter.
Maybe you are.
I don't know if I'm all butterflies and rainbows today.
I'm unicorn farts. How's that? That's where I'm at today.
What are unicorn farts like? Are they fruity or are they?
They're sparkles.
Sparkles and
yes.
Glitter.
Oh, yeah.
And rainbowy.
I'm rainbowy, but the glitter. Think about
the glitter.
That.
Okay.
Gets everywhere.
Yeah, it sticks to shit.
Because it's a fart.
Because it's a fart, yes. Oh, at least it's not stuffy farts.
Oh, God, no. Or Labrador. Ugh.
Ugh. I live with a staffy that farts so much. I'm sure the readers are really happy to hear that whilst they sip on their morning coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a day. But anyway, it's been a busy week, and I am actually full of the joys of spring today. It may be autumn here in Australia, but I have my babies in one place.
Oh, that's a good feeling, Mama.
It is a good feeling. It's been a nerve-wracking last 24 hours because my youngest has been living interstate for the last 2.5 years. And at the beginning of the year, he decided that he was going to move back home. And this is the weekend it's happened. And my eldest flew out to help them drive the 2 cars back and help pack up the truck and all of that stuff. The removalists arrived. So yesterday, whilst they're driving the 8 or 9 hour journey, I did not rest until I got those messages to say they were back home.
Yep.
And then today, they've all been, it's been like a revolving door.
I love it.
So yeah, my youngest turned up first thing this morning with his girlfriend to have coffee and bring 4 loads of washing because they don't have they haven't been able to use their washing machine whilst they've been packing it up to move, and then they're not going to get the delivery of the remove list isn't until I think it's tomorrow or the next day. So they brought all their washing over, and then as soon as they turned around and got to the end of the driveway, number 1 son decides to pop in. So it's been a busy day with visitors.
Great, though.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's lovely. I've got them all in one place, so I'm all very excited.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. It is. I haven't seen him for 6 months because I haven't seen him since Christmas.
Oh.
Which is hard.
It's hard when we don't see our babies.
Sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to have that peace, but you know.
Sometimes it is. My eldest is still in Bahrain and getting things sorted, though. So there's forward movement at long last.
Well, that's good.
I knew it'd take a while. So.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop us worrying about them. Doesn't matter how old they are. When they're far away from us, we're going to worry about them. And, you know, my parents had to deal with me living on the other side of the world from 22 years old.
Yeah, I was 18. Took a one-way ticket. And then I cried for the first 3 months begging to come back.
Oh.
Because it was cold. It was so much colder. And I grew up in the north. I did not grow up in a warm climate. But England is a lot more north than you think when you look at the world map because, you know, politically they place things in funny ways. It's not accurate. It was freaking cold. And yes, there is a St. Bernard barking in the background. We're just going to continue and not have to record this again.
Because we're on take 2 because the dogs have
Dogs.
been the dogs have been dogging, basically. We shouldn't say that. You know what dogging is, don't you?
Is that another Australian phrase?
No, it is the farthest from an Australian phrase that you will ever hear. Oh my God, dogging. Okay, I have to tell you about this. Dogging is basically people that go and gather in public places to have sex, or people that want to watch people have sex, okay?
In public.
It's called dogging, all right? And
Really?
I only found this out by watching a TV sitcom. I can't remember the name of the TV sitcom, but it's an English one. And this girl is in the car with her friend on the way to work, and he said, "What did you do last night?" And she goes, "I went dogging." He just spat out his coffee. He said, "What do you mean dogging?" And I've got to remember his name, but it's a BBC comedy, and I think it's called Car or something like that. And he goes, "What do you mean you went dogging?" And she said, "Yeah, dogging." He said, "Who'd you go dogging with?" And she said, "The 80-year-old man next door. He likes a bit of dogging."
Oh.
And he goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "Yeah, well, he doesn't get out much. So we took his Jack Russell and my nappy door, and we went dogging." And he's,
God.
"Do you know what dogging means?" And she goes, "Yeah, you take the dogs out for a walk." And he goes, "No, that isn't what it means." She says, pull over. I'm going to ask this guy. He's walking his collie. So she winds down the window and says, "Hey, do you like dogging?" And he goes, "Oh, love, I love a bit of dogging. Let me take the dog home and I'll come with you."
Oh, that's funny.
So that's what dogging is. But
I've learned a new thing.
Yes. But yes, the dogs were being dogs. They weren't dogging.
No, they weren't, except for the Pomeranian.
Yes. Oh, well.
Because he tries to go after the St. Bernard. Who just goes, "What is going on?
What's going on?
What's happening?"
Yeah. Yeah. Buff doesn't care about anything that's going on around him. He'll just, apart from getting a squeaky ball when I'm trying to record, he's all good. But,
if people only knew how much time it takes to record because of interruptions, just all manner of things that can happen.
There are so many things that can happen, or somebody comes to deliver something at my front door, because my office where I record this is right at the front of my house, and the driveway is in front, or they ring my doorbell and Buff goes mad, but my kids my youngest has crept into the house whilst we've been recording, removed his washing from the dryer and the line, and crept back out and sent me a message saying, "I didn't close the garage door because I didn't want to disturb you."
That's because you raised him.
I raised him. I did. And he's very thoughtful.
Yeah. My two that I have raised would have done such a thing.
But we can't blame the dogs for being dogs.
No.
That's their job. They're there to warn us of things.
Yes. And the neighbors, we have these new neighbors, okay? And I don't know if they're older or what, but one of them keeps backing into our cinder block wall in the front of the house. We have a little garden that my daughter painstakingly built of succulents and cacti that is phenomenal. It's starting to mature now. But they keep banging into the wall, and it was setting the dogs off. Like, how do you hit it repeatedly? I'm blind.
I want to know
if
why.
I tap something, I'm like, I hear their backup thing. Like, you've got a backup camera. I don't even have depth perception. But I am a little overly cautious. So
that's what's called touch parking.
We used to call it driving by braille.
Ah, yes. I'm quite good at driving by braille.
My great aunt was fabulous at it. But I'm, I don't drive as much anymore because am having trouble seeing. So it's like when I don't feel like driving just around the corner or to the grocery, and I am somebody who has done over 300,000 miles of road trip.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd mind driving, like once I can get out to the open road, it's traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think I could still drive to Wyoming, but I got to get out of population centers to do it. I just don't have it in me anymore.
It's just you adapt yourself to what you can and can't do, and you work out ways around it. It doesn't mean to say that you'll ever stop doing things, because you've got your computer set up to be bigger so that you can keep doing what you're doing.
No, I have my life set up. It's just you have to pair off things that are either not safe for you or anybody else.
Yeah, we have to manage our lives in order to the world is not going to accommodate us. We have to work out how we get the best accommodations. So many people are sitting back at the moment going, well, I can't do this because I've got a bone in my foot. Or, do you know, it's too many excuses. Sorry. I feel for you, but the fact that you keep doing what you're doing, you could easily sit there and go, I'm not going to work anymore because I need to use my eyes. And you're exhausted today because you've been working.
Yeah. My daughter's beloved was trying to convince me. He's like, you should go on disability. And I was like, no, I run a successful business. If you go on disability, you're only allowed to have so much money. Like, it caps you. And I was like, and not that it's wrong to be on disability, by the way. You know,
no,
it's not. If you need it, that's what it's there for. But I was like, I will work until the day I can't doing what I love, because I help a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people who rely on my information, you know, and that helps inspire me. Like, if nobody was listening, I probably would have stopped a long time ago, you know.
No, and that's the same thing. You have your sight. I don't have great sight, but it's a damn sight better than yours. And I've got a good eye. My good eye sees.
Your good eye is actually good.
Is actually good. I do wear glasses for driving and watching television, but my good eye is actually good. So I don't have half the problems that you have. But like you, I show up. I have a lot of pain, and I suffer from a lot of pain and it's gotten worse over, and it's not just one, it's not just my back.
No, you've got a lot going on.
I've got a lot going on. I've got a condition called trigeminal neuralgia. Look it up. It sits the highest on the pain scale. Doesn't hit me all the time, but when it hits, it hits. And I was out for 2 days this week, but I show up. I show up for my clients, and I show up for the people that need us. And that keeps us going.
It does. It does. It's, I had advice from, like, I was really lucky with the mentors I've had in my life. And older people who, you know, as you get older, there tends to be stuff.
Bits keep falling off us.
Yeah. You know, and they would say, you know, have a vision bigger than your own. Look outside of yourself.
Absolutely.
See what you can give. And it wasn't about being a martyr, but they were like, if all you think about is yourself and your sorry plight, then you're going to have a lot more problems.
Well, that's why gratefulness plays such a big part in our spiritual path or personal growth, because there's always something to be grateful for, no matter how bad things get.
Appreciate things. Absolutely. Because if you can appreciate, appreciation means something grows in value. So when you're like, oh, I really appreciate this, I'm grateful for this, it grows.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And we need more of that right now, because
absolutely,
if you don't, like, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not getting better just yet.
It's not getting better for a while. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. And you and I both see the selfish side of life. People that are really, really self-absorbed. And I don't want this episode to be a
whinge
gangbang.
fest.
Gangbang. Doing that.
Back to OnlyFans again. There we go. I promise to be good, but okay then.
I don't think I can be good, Laurie. I've tried. It doesn't suit me. I don't want this episode to be a gang up on people.
No.
But mentality, resilience, the way you address things is going to matter.
Matters
it's not
hugely.
Just about, what was that?
It matters hugely.
Yeah, it's going to matter hugely. We just give you the examples of what we tolerate and what we see on our own, in our own lives, with our followers, with people on social media, etc. But there is a bigger picture to that. And Laurie is right that if you can look outside of yourself, then you're going to go a lot further. It is becoming apparent that there's a lot of stuff from later in this year, not even later, sort of full time in this year, coming through, that if you don't build the resilience as to how you're going to deal with things, and not in a selfish way, you're going to be forced to. And community is key.
Yeah.
Because we see it on our socials all the time, how people are only worried about their own plight.
Yeah, their own stuff. We're all self-interested to a degree, and we have to be. That's
Absolutely.
A survival mechanism. That's biological. We should be interested in our own survival. But at the same time, there's so much going on and so much coming down in the next month. Next 2 months, next 3 months, next 4 months, next 18 months, that we have to move outside of what's in it for me.
Absolutely.
You have to, not denying yourself though, because denying yourself isn't going to help
you a martyr.
Anybody.
That just makes you a martyr, and that's not going to help anyone.
No.
The reality is you have to put yourself first mentally. To make sure that you are mentally prepared to then help other people. Do you understand what I mean? It's like you've got to learn, you've got to get that self-love, that resilience down so that when other people need, you're not drowning. Because there's a lot of people that are going to drown because we've been through so many world changes. We are in the middle of systemic change, massive
systemic change has been ongoing and will continue to be ongoing for quite a long time.
Yeah. And if you're just going to go, I can't cope, you're probably going to get really short shrift from me. Because I just don't want to hear it anymore. I did a live on Saturday. You joined somewhere through the live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it is on my Patreon or Laurie's Patreon. I've loaded it onto mine.
It's on mine too.
I thought it was on yours, yeah. And I was trying to explain to people how important resilience is going to be, how important it is for you to work on your own sense of values. If you work on your self-love and your knowledge of yourself, you're going to be better prepared resilience-wise for what is coming in. And I tried to touch on what was coming in and some of those things. It got so bad and so demanding in my comment section that my mod turned off the comments.
Wow.
I'm not surprised, though. 400 people all wanting to know about, is this place going to be okay? Is that place going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? All of this. And I understand people's wanting to know, but the message I was trying to give was so important. And lucky Kim picked it up because she just went on turning the comments off. So, yeah, it is. People need to start thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
And realizing that we don't have all the answers, but we are willing to help you build the resilience in order for you to manage the energy and events that are coming down the line.
Right. Well, and once again, this is where our complementary skills come into play, because you're doing a workshop on building that self-love, right?
Yes.
The law of attraction, and doing that. And I have processes that help people learn how to think for themselves.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so that's stuff I have available to my mystery school, because
Right. Mm-hmm.
I worked with a guy named Doctor, or actually he didn't go by Doctor. He hated that, because when he flew, people would think he was a medical doctor, and he was a doctor of psychology.
You have got to use doctor when you fly.
He hated it. So he was Stephen Glenn, PhD.
Okay.
Stephen H. Glenn, PhD. He was the founding researcher in resiliency studies in 1971 for the U.S. government.
Okay.
And they quashed his findings because he was trying to stop the school to prison pipeline back in the 70s.
That makes sense.
And so I was given permission to adapt any of his work. He's since passed away. He is forever on my shoulder. And I added it with a lot of my woo to help people know how to deconstruct and reconstruct without being told what to think or what to do. It's a framework. Just like you're teaching people to self-love. I think it's so beautifully complementary.
Absolutely.
It always fascinates me how you and I bring people into this. We're coming at different angles to the same intent.
Yeah. And it's not... I've struggled in the last number of months, especially since I've been on social media, the surface level
bullshit.
Yeah, the surface level bullshit.
It's not spirituality. It's bullshit.
Not. No, but you get the spiritual tourists. I'm talking about the people
okay.
I want the prediction. Tell me the prediction. Tell me what's going to happen. Tell me when my boyfriend's coming back. Tell me.
See, to me, that's not even spiritual. That's just people who are greedy and want shit for free.
Yeah, but even in my readings, I get the, when am I going to get married? Which people want to know, but you've actually got to leave your house to meet someone to get married. And then there's work to be done, because it's a long process. Anyway, but the people asking questions on social media that aren't necessarily clients of mine, they've come across me and they just want the answers. But then they're rude. This is why I delete so many people on my social media, because as soon as you show me that nastiness or that aggression or that and it's not even towards spirituality, it's about maybe a topic that I'm talking about, or somebody that goes, she's talking bullshit, climate change doesn't exist, you get deleted.
I get that.
And then they come crawling back and I want to know about your predictions. No, because you don't get to hear my predictions if you're going to be an asshole. It's another word I do use for them.
It's an asshole-free zone.
This is an asshole-free zone. But
only we get to be the assholes.
Yeah, we get to be the assholes. But it's just like the needy people that want the predictions, that say that they're spiritual. Even those that I've watched people work that say that they're spiritual and they're not. They're just money grabbers. In the name of spirituality, but they don't want to do the work on themselves. They don't want to build the resilience, and then they give you they react, or they're reactive and do something really nasty. And I just go, seriously? And I'll go through and I'll follow some of my favorite creators. And there's a couple of really good creators that I like from the UK who are just, they're mums living life.
Right.
And I will watch some of their comments, people making comments, criticizing or being nasty, or you shouldn't wear that, you look fat, or her son's blah 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 blah, or really trying to get this person's goat. And I'll just message back and just say, gee, your mum must be so proud of you. I just get really angry at these people that criticize, because they've got no place to do it.
They don't have anything to do, though. They're just trolls.
Yeah, if your focus in life is about what someone else is doing, and you are so worried about how they make their toast in the morning, or what they're wearing, or whether they look fat, or the fact that they've been able to work hard and have 2 holidays this year and not 1, then you have got a lot more problems.
Yeah, that's one of the things I see, because, again, I do a lot of political content, and the amount of people who are burn it down. And I'm like, Look, I've been pretty radical most of my life. I wrote my very first protest letter to President Nixon when I was 3 years old because I would not shut up about Vietnam to my mother because somebody who will remain nameless let me see the news at grandma's house, Dad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And my mom didn't let me. My mom was like really far ahead of her time in some ways. In some ways, she was not great, but in other ways, she was really ahead of her time. She was like, she didn't like icky stuff, so she didn't want us to see icky stuff. And so I saw a village being napalmed, and there were kids running. Yeah. So imagine it's kind of like now, right? And I wouldn't shut up about it. I was like, Mommy, why are they bombing children? Mommy, bombs are bad. Mommy. And I remember some of these conversations. I just like snippets of them, you know, because I have early childhood memory. And it's part of the tism. But, yay. But, anyway, my mom, she got tired of listening to it. It was like, fine, write a letter to Nixon. I was like, I can write a letter to the president? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So it took a long time because I had little chubby hands and it was hard to hold a pencil. But I wrote, Dear President, bombs are bad. Don't kill kids. Love, Lori. Because I signed everything. Love, Lori. You know. So, and 3 years old. And my mom helped me put it in an envelope and we walked down to the post office. I know I was 3 because the gumball machine was huge and I was more interested in that than sending the letter because I have a very clear memory of that gumball machine. And I was seeing my mother's knees and my mother is 4'11". So, you know, and this old man, because I was asking her, you know, before I got distracted by the gumball machine, as any 3-year-old would be. I was like, Mommy, you know, why is he going to read it? Is he going to stop bombing babies? And this old man, he may not have been old, but I was 3.
Yeah, he was probably 30.
He had a buzz cut and like a bowling shirt on. And he started going at me like, this is America. You're a commie, blah, blah, blah. I'm like 3. And all I remember thinking was, why is this old man yelling at me? I was not talking to him. Also the tism.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Did I take it personally? No, I wasn't talking to him. My mom flew like a banty hen at that guy. I have no other memory of it. I just know my mom pushed me behind her and I looked at the gumball machine and from there on in, I was like, how do I get a gumball? But that was like my first experience. So I've been doing this stuff a long time, right? I studied politics. That's why it's always been part of who I am. And when people want to burn stuff down and they haven't really studied history, and I'm like, so you're going to think I'm more privileged than some people. I am not a wealthy woman. I am not in the 1%. Okay. But I am better off than many. Are you going to burn my house down? Mm-hmm. Because it's relative. And when people see, there's a great gal named Madeline Pendleton. I don't know if you've run into her. She's a real punky cutie.
No, I don't think I have.
I'll send you her stuff sometime because she's fabulous. She owns a fashion business that she started and kind of runs a little bit like a cooperative. Everybody makes the same salary. It's $1 million business, but everybody gets taken care of. They use the profit on everybody there. Just came out with a book. It's great. She's very bright, very smart, and came from poverty.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And her book is to help people rise up, right? And I love her, but she's gotten very popular. And she was nervous about getting popular because when you get popular, then people want to bring you down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just saw a video by her about that. And that kind of jealousy at other people's success even through their own efforts.
Mm-hmm. No.
When she has helped so many people, so many people.
Yeah, there can be a lot of jealousy in this.
And it's out there. Mm-hmm.
It's out there, but there's also people that blame jealousy on their poor behaviour. I've seen people turn around who are really bad creators.
Oh, yeah.
Who turn around and have behaved badly in a spiritual sense.
Right.
I'm talking about somebody that's claiming to be a medium,
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Who has come undone and now turns around and says, everybody's jealous. It's because I'm famous. It's because everybody wants to be me.
But honestly, I see people like that at like 2% of it versus the other way around. And
there can be
concerns
people
me. It concerns me.
The whole thing concerns me that people like to pull other people down so nobody's ever criticized someone that's doing more than them. They always criticize people because there is jealousy. They're getting more than them. They've got notoriety. They're getting attention. And someone that is too scared to get out from behind their keyboard.
Yeah. And actually try.
Anything is going to criticize.
And knowing that it takes time. So people are like, well, I tried. I did some videos for a year. Did you really try them?
Yeah.
Because I used to coach people around performance on video and audio. Okay. Especially business owners. And they'd be like, well, I'm doing everything. And I'd go watch their videos. I'm like, you don't have a hook. You need a hook. You don't have the lighting set up. You don't have, you wore rumpled PJs, as I wear rumpled PJs with shitty lighting.
You're just talking about every video that I ever make.
Right, but you have a hook. You have a hook and you're using things. So you're doing something that attracts people. But when people
absolutely.
don't, and you have a measured way of speaking. So there's a delivery aspect. But a lot of times people think it's the subject matter, Well, if I just talk, because I had people going, well, astrology is more popular than this. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's no more popular than tarot, no more popular than crystals. There are crystal people who are rocking it. There are tarot people who are rocking it. How are you delivering your information? Do you have an identifiable format? There's formulas for this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I totally get that there's formulas for this stuff. And I haven't really bought into it at all because I could be so much more popular than I am on social media. I could have hundreds of thousands of more followers, but I'm not buying into the sensationalism of but
it doesn't have to be sensationalism though. It's just well crafted. Like you already have a well crafted thing. You've been growing a lot lately.
Oh yeah,
the algorithm switched to our favor.
I think the algorithm did. I mean, considering I lost my big account last August, and since the end of August last year, I have been crawling, and I mean crawling forward.
Same.
And the algorithm seems to have flicked because we're getting a lot of people are viewing older content as well, which is really good.
I've been seeing that. Yeah, stuff from like 2023 is popping up.
Really?
Okay.
But yeah, I just want people to try. That's all.
Yeah. Well, but trying helps. Getting off the tuchus. There's always something you can do. I think I was telling you about this. Like, I inherited this painting from my grandma's house. It's a print. It's not even painting because nobody else wanted it because it has no value.
Right.
That was good. It has a great amount of value to me because my grandmother and I watched an after-school special when I was about 10 or 11 years old. There were these after-school movies, and it was about a woman who had a diving accident and became quadriplegic, could not move any limbs, and learned how to paint and use her teeth to do it. And my grandmother, I'll never forget, like I can just totally see the moment where she turned and looked at me and said, "You remember this, Lori? No matter what happens in life, there's always a way to do something." And she bought the print.
Yes.
After watching, she went and looked her up, found it, bought a print by this woman. And last name is Mitchell. I can't remember. I think it might be Christine because it's not Joni. Joni Mitchell is the musician.
You'd remember that.
But I have that hanging up just in my foyer. And it makes me smile. It's a beautiful painting. It's of a forest. And it reminds me of my grandmother going, "You remember that, Lori?"
Yeah.
There's always a way. And that's gotten me out of some tough spots in life where there didn't look like there was much I could do.
I think people give up far too easily. And that's why I'm trying to work on this resilient self-love with everyone, that law of attraction.
Yep.
Start looking at the positivity, the gratitude, what you can do, because it's energy out, energy in,
Absolutely.
whatever I remember driving through Melbourne. This isn't too long ago. And there was a policeman on a push bike, because in Melbourne we have some policemen on push bikes. He had no leg below the knee. He had he was obviously an amputee of some sort. Riding his push bike, doing the job. He's a policeman. People have got to stop you. It's been made too easy for people. I'm sorry. I'm getting really, really cross at people worried or saying they can't do something. They don't want to do anything. And not trying and expecting governments to pick up the pieces for them, especially in some areas of the world where the government will hand out disability. Not that there's anything wrong with being on disability, but if you have some ability, do something.
I was going to say, and in the States, it's so small, and you can't live off of it.
No.
And they don't let you make more. It needs to be reworked.
Absolutely.
And it keeps people scared, because if you lose it, then what do? And if you can't work a regular 9 to 5, that's understandable. I can't either.
No,
okay.
Well.
And some of that is I'm feral, but
But let's get this
it doesn't
straight.
work for me. It doesn't.
Laurie,
I can't.
There's a lot of people out there that are very, very deserving to be on disability.
100%. Much more than they get. Much more than they get. Absolutely.
But there are people, and I'm not just talking about the US, but in the UK, that have got their hand out constantly. And they complain because it's not enough, or the government aren't doing enough, or they're not supplying this, or they're not supplying that, everything like that. I adapt my life as you do. I could sit and get either disability or sickness benefit or something like that in a heartbeat. And it has been recommended, but I don't want it because I like helping people. I like doing what I do. So I have adapted my life in order to do what I do. And, I had to cancel a reading the other day. I was halfway through a reading the other day. I've got a TN attack, and I was like, not a hope in hell I'm going to do the next reading. Thank God the girl afterwards said, not a problem, just do it the next day. Did I tell you about the lady that did kick up a stink? I told you about that? I had to go for injections the other week in my back, so I had to cancel 4 appointments. And I just said, I can do your appointment over the next 72 hours. Tell me what suits you, and I'll just move you across. And 3 of them came back and said, not a problem, Matilda. This suits, this suits. They were all done.
By the way, this was a medical emergency, folks. This was not just for no reason. Yeah. This was not cosmetic.
No, I had to have injections in my spine so I could be pain-free. And it's a procedure because I don't live in a major capital city. So sometimes I have to travel for an hour and a half to 2 hours to go to these appointments. And so 3 of the ladies, or 3 people, it was all ladies, said, not a problem, Matilda. I am going to, tell me when you're free. They were really adaptable, very grateful and gracious. Okay? One person came back and said, well, it's my birthday.
Again, are we over 12 years old?
Are we over 12 years old? I booked this for my birthday, and it won't be my birthday if I don't have it on that day. I'm really sorry. I'm happy to refund you, but I want my appointment. They wait. Most people are waiting between 8 and 10 weeks for an appointment with me.
Yeah.
And I understand it is inconvenient if a medical emergency comes up, but I am always grateful of somebody changing it, And I will offer a refund if you don't want it. But who waits 8 weeks for an appointment and then throws a temper tantrum because
I want the world. I want the whole world.
And she was rude as well. It was like, and my thoughts are, well, you're not my people. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, dodged a bullet on that one.
If you are that thoughtless that because the reading is not on your birthday.
See you next Tuesday, you little floozy.
So I just said, okay, I'm sending you a full refund, which is that's absolutely fine.
I've done that. And
I'm like,
and most people are so wonderful and accommodating because,
they are. I've got some beautiful clients. My clients are
primo,
sensational,
chef's kiss.
But we work at the level that we work at. So that we have primo clients. Does that,
exactly.
Do you understand what you mean? What I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody goes, but it's my birthday and I want the appointment. Well, excuse me, I'll do it whilst I'm lying face down on a CT scanner with a epidural needle in my spine. Would you like me to do the reading then?
You can send him pictures of your bum.
I know. He's a hot doctor too. He was so hot. And he comes in, pulls my tracksuit pants down over my bum.
And you're like, hello, doctor.
He was cute. So, yes. But yeah, we've got to stop being so bloody entitled.
It is insane. Now, again, that doesn't happen much for either one of us for readings at all. It's very rare. It happened to me more when I had dropped my rates when I first got on TikTok during the lockdowns. I dropped them to be able to service a lot of people because everybody and their mother was like, 2022 is going to be a great year. And I was like,
nope.
No, it's not. And so I was trying to get people ready. You know, I am no longer trying to get people ready with the same urgency because at this point, I'm going to say, folks, as far as my guidance is concerned, you either get it or you don't at this point. Okay. The warnings have been given and given and given and given and given and given again. And you're either going to be dealing with stuff or you're going to be finding it's an FAFO kind of experience, you know?
And that means fuck around and find out.
That's right. I saw a Gen X dude, because again, we're Gen X. I saw a Gen X dude crying on my FYP because he suddenly woke up and realized that the world isn't there, you know, the way he thought it was. And I'm like, oh yeah, you were that third who were a pain in our ass who wouldn't help get out there and try to make a change because you benefited by every single bit of that status quo. And now that you're getting screwed, you're crying. And I'm like, not all Gen Xers are cool. Okay. They're not. There's a third that were bootlickers.
Most of us are.
Yeah.
Bootlickers? Window lickers?
Nah, bootlickers, man.
Okay. I can deal with the window lickers.
A third. They bought into the status quo. A third were not. They were change agents of some kind. They either tried to change the system from within. Found out that wasn't going to happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
Right. I started with that too. I was like, I'm going to, you know what? If we fight the system, they're ready for it. So I'm going to go in and try to make a change. And I was like, oh shit, this isn't going to work.
I was left dribbling in the corner, rocking, trying to work within government.
Yeah. I knew.
Nothing changes.
I knew by the time I graduated from university that my professor was right and I'd slip in a bathtub. And so I just went private sector and I just chose the least evil path and helped people on the side. I had to learn it early because I really wanted to change the world. But it was also selfish because I wanted the world to be my way.
I don't think
I was in my 20s. In my 20s.
I've always been a bite-sized person. So I will do what I do in bite-sized pieces and with groups of people. But what I have learned is that I can't change people. I can only...
It's a hard lesson.
Yeah, I can only help them if they come to me... willingly. Interesting conversation, though, very lately. Did you see the TikTok I made last week about my ex-husband being in therapy?
No.
Oh, it was a very funny one. Someone was saying that I scare them. Like, I scare them because my predictions are so accurate.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm really struggling to be a non-believer. You make it really hard. Stop it. All right? It was a joke.
That's funny.
It was funny.
Right.
And my response was, well, you should try being married to me. I believe my ex-husband's still in therapy. It was just... Go back and watch the TikTok. It's very funny.
I will go watch that. I will go watch that. That's funny.
And my ex-husband has always been a non-believer, but trying to be a believer. And I drove him mad through our marriage. We were married for over 20 years. And the poor man never got to watch a murder mystery in peace. Because I always knew who did it. I always knew the end of the story.
Yeah.
And various other things where I'd say, I know that's going to happen, or I wouldn't go there, or all sorts of things. And it was a standing joke. And he knows my family. My mum was the same, etc. Anyway, where was I going with this? I sent him that video. And he comes back and says, damn right, I'm in therapy. But he has become a believer a bit more because you know how we're telling people, stock up on a bit of water, start having some cash on hand.
Yep, been saying it for years now.
Food needs, if you can get
your non-perishables,
food, all of that. Just for, from September
grow what you can. Grow what you can. Hydroponics.
Get a radio. All of those things. Because we at some point could be without internet, we could be without telecommunications. You are going to be grateful of this information. And remember, if telecommunications or internet goes out, that also fucks up your ability to pay for something.
Yep.
Or use an ATM.
It's not going permanently, guys. We're going to have rolling.
It's going to be rolling. It's not going to be permanent.
Yeah.
We're not, things aren't suddenly disappearing, but... it is going to be tricky. And I likened it to this. So my mother arrived in Australia to visit me the morning that 9/11 happened. So she arrived the day before. We got up the next day and we heard about what happened during 9/11 and we were watching some of the TV, but we had to go out to buy groceries. And she went to get some money out of the bank and the international banking had been stopped.
Yep.
So little, stuff like that.
It's stuff like that. And it can last 24 hours. It can last a week. If you've ever been in a big storm, I was snowed in for 2 weeks straight. We got a 2-day break and then another week, no power. And that meant we had no water because we were on a well.
Right. Yeah. It just think to your own circumstances. But I turned around to my ex-husband the other day and said, you need to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to order some radios for us and the boys, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, no. And I said a wind-up radio. And he said, why can't I just buy batteries? And my response was, have you got a battery-powered radio? He said, no. And I said, so you're just going to stare at the batteries in the middle of the room, are you?
Right.
He did tell me to fuck off. But,
there's all kinds of solar powered things you can get, smaller ones. You can get these things.
But he has conceded and believed what I am telling him because he's now, it's not, if it was just me telling him these things, he would go, yeah, whatever. But because people are seeing my predictions happen and I'm making them on a bigger scale, not just don't drive your car down that road because your wheel's going to fall off.
Right.
He's listening to me. So, so that's my little bit of a win.
That's a big win. I talked about 2020 coming for literally over 20 years, right? Because it was brought to my attention by my astrology mentors when I was a young astrologer. Because Cosmo, truly his name, was in his 90s and he was like, hey, I'm not going to live to see this, but you will. And you have kids. You probably really want to study these charts. And he was an amazing man. I loved Cosmo so much. I never met him in person. We were on a message board together, but he really was in his 90s. He studied with the great metaphysicians of the 20s and 30s. He was cool. I was so lucky. But anyway, so I looked at the charts way out of context, because as you know, when we're future casting, the further out it is, the less context
The less context there is. Yeah.
And it just looks big, scary, and hairy, you know? And I was terrified. I'm like, I don't know how I raised my small children for this, you know? So I taught them medieval skills. I taught them modern tech skills. I taught them everything you could think of. They are prepared for Armageddon, let me tell you. Because it looked a lot worse than it ended up being. And so I raised them, and I would sound nuts about it because it was so far out. I'd be like, you have to learn how to be very, very independent. You can't rely on corporations. They're going to be like really messed up. The government isn't going to be there to help. There's a lot of corruption and weird stuff going on. There's going to be, and I sounded like a prepper, you know, I sounded like really crazy. Lockdowns happened. All of a sudden my phone starts blowing up from people I haven't heard from in 5-6 years. You were right.
Yep.
You know,
people will often tell me I'm right. Sometimes we don't want to be right. Can I just say we don't want to be right? I don't like turning around to people and going, I told you so, unless it's something funny.
I was going to say, if it's funny, it's
like the election in the UK. Everyone was going, because last year, in my predictions last year, I said the election would be called in May, and I got so much abuse from British white men in their 50s and 60s that says we never have a general election that he's not going to call it. It's not going to be till 2025. And then me. Sorry.
You had every right to crow over that.
Oh, I was crying because they really gave me a hard time about that.
I tend to crow about Trump predictions coming right when things I've called for Trump, I come on and I'm very smug because those are fun.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
I like to be able to crow every now and again.
Yeah. But not over bad stuff. We don't get off on, like, when it's an earthquake or a tornado or loss of life or a war.
It's pretty shit.
No, we feel like shit. I have a video of me crying last year in February because I'd called the Turkey earthquake, and I begged people to stop tagging me.
Yeah.
In the videos, because people were still looking for family. I mean, it had just happened. Like, Astrology, you called it. And I'm like,
I don't care whether stop? It calls it. That's why we have the Patreon chats where people can put the predictions in. I appreciate being tagged in stuff. I tell you what, I've got someone that's a bit of a, what are they called? Oh, the Fantasists. What are they called when they... Tilda's lost her words again. Conspiracy theorist.
Oh, conspiracy theorist.
That tags me in everything. Like, they want me to answer whether it's a conspiracy theory or not. I'm like...
We are not the arbiters of all things.
We are not the arbiters of all things. And we don't know everything. I wish we did. Actually, somebody needs to probably repeat that and put it on a sound bite.
We don't know everything.
We don't. You know, and even with what we have both seen coming in the later in the year, we don't know exactly.
We're still working on it.
Yep.
I have some ideas, and things are starting to kind of like other scenarios. Yeah. You know, because I'm like, what else can it be within the framework? What else could this be? What is this wall of water we see? You know, what causes this? You know, besides our first logical jump, you know, our first thoughts, what else might it be? Because, you know, when I looked at 2020, I thought we were going to have global thermal nuclear war. By 2018, I was like, you know what? I don't think that's very likely, but something's going to happen. And I did have a friend called the Pandemic, who's an astrologer. And then I went back and looked through their writing, and I was like, okay, because they didn't say how. Astrologers don't say how they predict. That's part of our trade secret.
Part of the mystery.
Well, it's part of our bread and butter. So, you know, people are like, teach me how to predict. No,
I don't. Yeah, no. And people go, how do you get this? Yeah, but people ask me the same thing. How do you get your messages? Well, it's like everything all at once, and I then have to decipher it and sort it out. It's like having a sorting hat on top of my head at all times. Slithering. I was not
That's
going
my
to
house.
be Slithering.
I'm Slytherin.
No, well, he's dead now, but Slythering's headmaster.
That's right. My other
he
husband.
Was hot.
It was way hot.
So hot.
So hot. We
But
both like green. I think we would have been in Slytherin. Slytherins weren't all bad.
no, this is
That was Gryffindor propaganda. I went to Hogwarts. Damn it!
You did not go to Hogwarts.
I did.
You went
I
to the
did go to
building that
Hogwarts.
was used for Hogwarts.
It was Hogwarts.
Wasn't Hogwarts at the time because Hogwarts
No.
hadn't been written.
Well, however, I got to see Nuns on the Run filmed with Robbie Coltrane, and Pink Floyd's The Wall was filmed there before I got there. So we would sing "We Don't Need No Education" because of the irony.
Wasn't that Boomtown Rats?
We don't need no education. We don't need
no education.
That's Pink Floyd.
I thought it was the Boomtown Rats.
No.
Okay.
No, that was part of Pink Floyd's The Wall. Yeah. And that was filmed in Bushy and Watford. But there were ghosts and poltergeists.
Okay.
I know, because I survived and I won a bet.
Did you live in halls the whole time you were there?
No, I moved off campus because the food was crap, but I did live in the halls most of the time.
Okay.
I was in G House.
Okay.
G House. They were not well named.
Colder than halls of residence.
Freaking freezing.
Yep.
And in the summer, you could bake bread.
Mm-hmm.
We would go sleep out in the lawns. We'd sleep on the soccer pitch.
Yep, nothing colder than halls of residence or boarding school dorms.
We had this like walk-in closet in G House because there were towers and houses. I was in the house. The other was a tower. So we had like this walk-in closet area, just the way that room was built. And we were a dry campus.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of very wealthy Muslim students that went to our school, or from wealthy families anyway. And so my first roommate and one of my only roommates was American because they thought I'd be more comfortable with that. I'm like, I left my country for a reason. Why? Mm-hmm. Anyway, she would put the vodka in that room because it would ice it.
Well,
that's how freaking cold. That's why I cried for 3 months to go home. And thankfully my mother said no because I had
But I have a habit that I, talking about nuns, a habit that I developed during school, which is when it's really cold and you're trying to get dressed and you get dressed under your top.
Yeah.
You have your towel around you and you're getting dressed.
Blanket,
and my ability, I do not have the ability to have a long shower. I am so used to having short, fast showers.
I hate showers because of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was so cold, you'd sort of be in and out really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was so freaking cold. People do not understand how cold.
They do not understand.
No. And when there's a poltergeist in your room.
You actually had a poltergeist in your room.
I did. Nobody could stay in that room for more than 2 weeks, literally. And if the university literally had a thing, if you could be in it for a month, you could stay for the rest of the term for free.
Wow.
I was a scholarship student. Okay. I was not from a wealthy family. I'm like, I can save me some money. I can do this. Oh, not kidding. Cause see, I didn't believe in that stuff.
No.
I was 18 and I was a logical, rational person.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe in psychobabble. I didn't believe in mumbo jumbo, hogwash, poppycock, balderdash. No, man, this was so freaky. So not only did I sleep with my head under the covers the entire time, it was a small room.
I spent my childhood like that, so yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, except I talked to dead people. What's weird, dead people did not scare me. This was different. This was violent energy. Okay. Yeah. So my lipstick would fly, like literally the tube of lipstick. Nobody in my room. It flew and smashed in the wall. My glasses swam. And in fact, that was what really pissed me off because it had been throwing. My radio would fritz. The temperature would fluctuate in the room. It was all this stuff. It was like out of horror movies, but bike, and I would be like under my blanket and like, mostly for protection because stuff would fling around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, look, you son of a bitch. I'm not leaving. I can't afford this place. I'm going to wait you out. So one of us is going to give up, and it's not going to be me. It quit. I wore it out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it did. I managed to make it a month, and it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at the end of term, I moved to a new room because it's still screwed with things, but it didn't fling. Because when it almost broke my glasses.
Did they give you credit for your storm?
Yeah, I did. They couldn't believe it. And nobody else had a problem with that room ever again.
Wow.
Yeah, I waited it out. You know, it was the Royal Masonic School for boys. And I think, and there was a tuberculosis outbreak, and there were a lot of orphaned boys, and I'm sure there was a lot of angry energy. Like now knowing what I know, there was just probably the scared energy.
It's more an energy of the building than it is of a person.
It wasn't a person, no. It was just a lot of angry young boys. Yeah. And that's why me just being like, I'm going to hide under here because you're throwing things at me. But at first I was terrified and I had to get over it. But my desire not to have to pay the fee, because it all sounded great in theory, but the dollar had crashed right before I left the country.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, eating was important to me.
Well, eating's often important, but I spent most of my life actually, it happened again, I think about 2 weeks ago. I did have somebody that sort of kept trying to get my attention. But I haven't experienced this for a really long time, where when I was younger, because I saw my first spirit at 7, 8, I had no idea what the fuck was going on, seriously.
Right.
I used to sleep with my head under the covers. And when you want to turn over, you turn over with your head under the covers. I'm actually doing it on video here, looking a bit like an idiot. And that's how I spent my childhood, because that's that. And the same thing happened a couple of weeks ago. I had somebody that was trying to get my attention, but they were trying to get my attention because I had a reading very early the next day, and I think that's who it was, because they didn't come back. Actually, no, I know that's who it was, because they didn't come back once I'd spoken to their loved one. But I was basically, the whole night, I was like, fuck off. I love everyone's loved one. They can come and visit me. When you have a reading, they've got to learn that there is a waiting period.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, learning to manage that was important.
Sometimes it's look, a lot of the time,
but sometimes you can't help it. Yeah,
sometimes you just can't help it. Like that, it's around that time when we had the last solar storm, and all energy was down. I was depleted of all my energy.
Same.
I probably hadn't been looking after myself as well as I should have. And we do pay the price because we get tired. And when we're tired, we get cranky.
We get very cranky.
Cranky is, it's something that hits us probably a little bit more than some.
Cranky so when we're as cranky does.
Yeah, so when we're a little bit short-tempered sometimes, if we're on live or people are asking questions, or people are in the what about me sphere of
you forget we can feel their energy. Like the internet is not a barrier to feeling energy. A phone is not a barrier to feeling energy. It is.
And it stopped me wanting to post on social media. I'll be honest with you, because as soon as I put a video up that's got anything near a prediction in it, I get asked, out of 200 questions, 150 of them will be questions about them, not themselves, but about other areas. What about this leader? What about this? I don't know. I've been asked about the South African.
You have a different. We do have different energies. Like, I mean, not energies, but audiences.
Yeah, we have different audiences, and I have been asked about the South African election about 100 times. I've got nothing on it. I keep saying, I've got nothing. I haven't picked up anything on it, and I can't give you nothing.
Yeah. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's now I know I'm starting to feel the urge to post. You know what that means. You know what it means.
What?
When I start getting excited about stuff, that means shit's about to hit the fan.
Oh yeah, I think this week we're
because
gonna have
I
shit hit
get
the fan.
when I get tired and depleted, it's usually a couple weeks out from something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I start going, ooh, yeah, I'm like, oh, chaos will reign. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
And it's just this energy. And I'm starting to get, now granted, Jupiter's in Gemini. It's making me a little more sassy than normal.
Sassy, saucy, spicy, OnlyFans.
Less OnlyFans and more push the envelope.
Okay.
Push it. You know, like more like, come at me, bruh.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to have somebody come at you and then you can
giving them a 1-4. But no, I'm feeling delightfully like full of pip.
Wow.
I know.
Well, shit's about to come down the line for Mr. Trump this week.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just wait till his solar return sucks.
But this comes out on Friday, so it'll be the same day as there's a decision, I think. So this will be coming out that day.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The moon is not in his favor that day at all.
I think they're going to find him guilty. That's
on something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. And people have got to stop worrying about 1 charge, 2 charges. He's got 97 or something ridiculous, and there's more coming.
To be honest, I think people putting so much energy into him, whether they're fighting against him or they like him, is why he's still standing. So if you really want him gone, turn your attention away from him and put it on your local elections, because that's the last stand for democracy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop worrying about him. He's toast. He's toast. Dead in the water.
He's not going to be a leader.
He's doing nothing ever again. Matilda and I have said this independently for a very long time. I am so tired of Trump questions.
I sometimes will answer them just to put people's mind at ease, because you know what? There's a lot of people that are fearful. I'm not attached to the outcome of your election. I really don't give two hoots.
What bothers me is people from my own country who do not understand how the system works. I'm like, would you please focus on these other things? Because clearing Congress is really, really important.
There's a lot of things that are really, really important.
Much. He is a distraction at this part.
And the fact is, Biden isn't much better. Biden is a pain in the ass. I understand that. The reason I bring predictions because of Trump is because he's so fucking entertaining.
Yeah.
He brings the tea.
He does bring the tea. Biden is just doddering. He's not as fun to, give a hard time about.
But
although Justice Alito is in some trouble, the Supreme Court Justice. I just did his chart. He's going to be very uncomfortable this summer.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that are going to be very uncomfortable that are hanging in by the skin of their teeth for the next election. My biggest fear is that I'm not convinced the election will take place on November the 5th or whatever.
Yep.
That's my biggest fear, and then it just gets drawn out for another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
It's not what people think, though. Matilda and I both spoke about this on our Patreons. Yeah. It's probably a natural disaster.
It's a natural disaster, but will come with other news from other areas of the globe, as well as other stuff. I think it's a multitude of things that bring on a knock-on effect.
Yep, it's many things.
It's many things.
But it is not.
But
it's
we'll
not
cover
because,
that a bit closer to the time.
Yeah. We're going to do an event.
Yeah.
We just have to pick out the dates.
We're going to have to do that probably early September.
We have to know when your surgery is, though.
I think we're going to have to do it the end of August, early September.
Okay. Early August is probably better than.
Let's do early August then.
Okay.
I'm about to release my August date, so we can sort that out after. If we can sort out a date today,
That'd be great.
because I'm about to do my calendar for August, because now I know that I'm not having surgery in August.
Okay.
And it's going to be September. And quite frankly, if they come back to me and say, we can't do your surgery until December, I'm actually quite happy with that, because I always take December and January off.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just want you to feel better.
I want to feel better too. But the injection, I think, has worked a little bit. And I've got another injection at the next level on Friday morning.
Oh, good. Good.
Because Charlie said that he'd take me to that. But the trigeminal neuralgia has been my biggest bugbear. It's taken my mind off my back. So my back could actually still be hurting, but the fact that my face is hurting more.
Well, you figured out I did this facial procedure called HIFU, and they hit in here, right here.
Just underneath her chin to the side.
Yeah, they hit in the soft spot. They hit the nerve. It's still tender. I mean,
wow.
it sent me, I have a very high tolerance for pain.
Yeah, so do
very,
I.
very, very. And it shot me through. Like, I cried like a baby when that happened. I was like, yowl. And when I talked to you after, you were like, trigeminal nerve.
Yeah, which is where it is. So my trigeminal nerve is in a twist in my neck, and that causes pain. It goes into 3 branches. It's underneath the chin, underneath the nose, across where the sinus, and you've seen the swelling, and then above the eye. And mine started about 8 years ago, and nobody knew what it was. They were like, migraines. And I'm like, it's not migraines. I went to the dentist 1,000,000 times begging them to remove my top teeth, thinking that that's where the pain was coming from. And I'm on a medication which is an anti-epilepsy drug, which usually keeps it under control. But when the cold air got to it the other day, that was it. I was out for 2 days. I have a special little card that I take to the doctors. Not the doctors, but if I ever have to go to emergency, because normal medication doesn't work for it, normal opioids. So it says a pain management card. My pain does not respond to conventional opioids, so I am not a drug seeker.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, that's important. Yeah.
And it tells you what they can do via IV for it, which I've never, ever had to use this. I've been to the emergency room once with it, and they were useless. So I came home and said, well, I can do what they're doing at home.
Right.
But I can't do my job if I'm on painkillers.
Right.
So that's the first time, I think two nights ago, I had to take a painkiller, and I just went to bed. And then I vomited yesterday when I was on the phone to you.
Right.
I taking a painkiller.
But, I am the perfect person to do that with, because I was like, oh my God, be careful, take care.
I was just like, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
And it was, as soon as I was sick, I was fine. But all it is a painkiller. It's a painkiller.
Yeah.
Because I don't like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they don't like you.
They don't like me. But
my dad is allergic to opioids.
Oh, really?
And he cannot have like Oxycontin at all, which is, at all. And he had hernia surgery about 10 years ago.
Ouchie.
And they told him, they told the doctor, he cannot have Oxycontin. He will vomit. Well, don't you know they screwed it up? And he was prescribed, it wasn't called Oxy, it was a different version of it, but it was still the same. Hernia surgery, hurling your guts up. Oh, and he was just, like I said, about 10 years ago. So dad was turning 70 around then, and oh God, that poor man. And it's people can be really, really sensitive to things.
Yeah. I can't have morphine. I can have morphine, but you have to watch my blood pressure. Someone once, when I had gallbladder surgery, they said, how was morphine? And I said, I'm fine, but you've got to do it really, really slowly. because my blood pressure will drop really, really fast. And then there's going to be panic. And they say, I said, I've seen it enough times. There will be panic. And they putting a few meals in at a time. And they came back and went, you weren't lying, were you?
Well, you did give birth to 2 redheads.
Yeah.
I swear I've got redheaded genes because pain meds either work or they do not at all. Like I have to have extra Novocaine. They have to use a special anesthetic on me to get me out. I can't just use the amnesia drugs for like oral surgery. They have to give me a double dose. And I still remember it. I still remember.
No.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive.
I woke up.
I am so sensitive. Extra sensitive to any medication or any sort of drug. But you've seen my picture from when I was a child. What kind of hair have I got?
Red.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just very, very sensitive, but I've got a very high pain threshold.
Yeah. Same.
So I try not to take, if I take a strong painkiller, I'm out. I'm gone. I will sleep for the rest of the day. Yep. You're not going to get
weirdly enough, I'm that with opioids though. If it's a non-opioid,
I spoke to you.
It's weird. You did.
And I was slurring my words, wasn't I?
You were. It was cute.
I just said, I am high.
You did. She was like, I was talking to you. I just want you to know I'm very high right now. I was like, well, good for you.
But I was fine the next day, apart from having a vom. So,
yeah. Oh, bless.
That's it.
Well, and that's just going to be, we've got a lot of energy coming in, and sometimes that manifests physically with us too. There's the integration of it all. We never know.
We don't know and sometimes we don't know until after the event. Laurie's brewing a headache right now, and that's probably because the solar storm is
energy. I can feel its energy. I know it's not physical. Like it's physical, but it's not. Yeah. And just given it's right here, and I have a very active third eye. So it's not like my third eye is closed or anything. It's like wide open, poke it in the middle. Yeah. But I can feel it, and I can feel its energy, but there is a physical component of like this ache. And that's an energy thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's an energy thing. So, just be gentle with us.
Yeah. We're delicate little flowers.
We are delicate. And as much as you guys struggle with the energy and you guys are struggling with what is coming down the pipeline and certain things and natural disasters and scary news and all of that, we are also trying to navigate it at the same time as giving you as much information and calming you and as many tools in your tool belt as we possibly can. So we think about how things affect the wider community.
Yeah.
And
that's
how we
most of our
conversations. That is most of our conversations.
Yeah. How do we talk about this? You know, how do we give this information? We don't want to scare people, It's a lot. It is. And then we're also getting hit by future stuff because that's our job.
And it's like I'm trying to close myself down every day by about 5 or 6 o'clock because I am tired and you're tired. And so, just be gentle with us, and we will continue to be as gentle as we can with you guys.
Yeah, we are of service. We are here to
it's
serve.
our job. And we're not here to whinge and go be martyrs or anything like that. No. Sometimes if we say we don't have the information, or I made a video the other day and I said, I'm not actually tapping in because it's my day off, but I'll give you what I've already given. People understand we need the time off. We need the downtime.
I was going to say, I will say in our audience, our main supporters, you are the best ever. The generosity of spirit, the support, it's huge. We're talking about, the people who are walking in and out, the tourists.
The wanky poo-poo heads.
Yeah, the wanky poo-poo heads.
But we are, our actual audience are so supportive and kind and gracious.
They're beautiful.
So that's about it for today, I think.
It is. We didn't have an Australian phrase of the day. We learned
I can give you an
Australian.
Would you like an Australian? Oh, did we talk about dogging?
Did we do dogging in this episode? We did.
Okay.
It was in this one. What is an Australian phrase for the week?
I'm not here to put shoes on caterpillars. No. Can you edit that one out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to put shoes on centipedes.
I like that.
Don't know what it means. I think it's like I'm not here to waste time.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a lot.
Yeah. Putting
that
shoes
would be
on centipedes.
Like 200 pairs of shoes.
I know. But that's the Australian saying. I must get some more because my osteopath gives me some great ones, and I've got an appointment with him tomorrow. So I shall write them down for you. I don't always remember them.
Right, but we'll just collect them for the episodes because
I'm not here to fuck spiders is my favorite.
That is a great one.
But yes. So anything else you would like to talk about? What do you have coming up? Because when this episode comes out on Friday,
June 1st
is the day that my calendar is open for August.
Oh, brilliant. I have a new tier open on my Patreon for astrology enthusiasts. I'm still coming up with a name for it. It's like an astrology club where once a month people can come and talk. It's informal. They get access to the Planet of the Month Club library. I don't want to call it astrology club though. I've been playing around with names. I think I was going to call it like Cosmic Conversations or something like that. Just, I don't know. I haven't come up. We have Cosmic Surfers already, but that's for more advanced people.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. New tier where people get to meet with me, learn about astrology just informally. We'll talk.
Cool.
And then June, you have something. June 21st in America. It's the 22nd in Australia.
Yes.
Is your workshop?
My workshop, which is centered around the law of attraction, which is not only around manifesting. People have got to understand that it helps you build resilience. It helps you understand how energy works.
Well, manifest just means to reveal.
Yeah, I know. That's but people think...
I know.
People think that they've got to manifest something tangible.
I know.
To be part of it. But the law of attraction is an amazing... A lot of people that I've spoken to have used the law of attraction to help themselves out of situational. Now, I'm not talking about mental health, but situational depression, situations that they don't feel that they can dig themselves out of. Yeah, I did. I'd say the law of attraction saved my life, to be perfectly honest with you.
I don't think I'd be here.
So that is on the 22nd Australian time, which is the 21st. And sometime in June, I don't know without looking at my calendar, but sometime in June, because you can't get a mediumship reading with me until August at the moment.
Right.
Sometime in June, there is a mediumship event where 10 people are on Zoom and everyone gets a reading, but you get to watch me work. We talk a bit about spirituality, all of that stuff. That's cool. That's my cell. What else? What have you got going on?
June year ahead. Every year I do the year ahead right around the solstice. Now the solstice is on the 20th this year, but the Saturday is the 22nd of June. That's my timing. It's 23rd in Australia.
Yes.
And so we're looking at 2025. And then I do a follow-up in November or December, probably December this year, given my own astrology. And the people who sign up in June get access to the later recording as well. They get a twofer. So there's a reason to come. They usually fill up. So join because it's already filling up. And then, my year ahead readings open up. Cool. I do it twice a year. This is a very involved month by month look at somebody's personal year.
I need to look at mine that you did for me last year.
You do. Because there's some I told you so's in there.
Yeah, there's a few. There's actually a few. Laurie's been very, very good. And you did tell me that I would be having you ask the question, are you planning on having an fMRI, which is the MRI that I'm about to have?
Oh, yeah. Did I ask that?
So you did ask the question, but I don't know if I've still got the recording because I didn't download it.
I'll have to go see. We may have cleaned out the cloud.
Because I'm useless and I've got worse ADD than most people.
Right.
Like,
I know. It's sad. I always tell people, download it when you get it.
I know, but I forget, and then I go off and get sidetracked by the 759 other things
I'll go check
in my
my
head.
Zoom.
I may have downloaded it. I will check, but yeah. Anyway, but those are very exciting. I sort of want to be in on your year ahead, but I don't because I like to be fresh of mind when I make my own predictions.
I know, absolutely.
But part of me is like, oh, I'd love to see it. But then I go, no, I don't.
No, because I don't watch your predictions either for the same reason.
Yeah, we stay away from each other's
stuff. The only thing we're doing right now is and just so you guys know, we are talking about October, but that's because independently we have seen very similar things. And just like we worked together during our last event where you'd see we kind of play off of each other, we're kind of doing that because it's very, very serious. Mm-hmm. And it almost takes two minds and two perspectives. I think the energy is really, really big. And so we're trying to hone so we can give you the best information.
Yeah. And the
but we don't do that about everything.
No, we don't do that about everything. Mm-hmm. The events that we had in May that were sensational because a lot of the stuff that we've talked about,
they've already happened.
And it's like, oh, okay.
We nailed it.
We
boom,
nailed
boom,
it.
Boom. Watch out, Germany. June is coming.
We nailed Rishi.
We did. Mm-hmm. We so nailed Rishi.
There's something this week about him, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's something happening this week about Rishi.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we do work together, but not on our everyday, day-to-day predictions.
No.
Because I will purposely... Hate that, sorry.
I didn't steal your sneeze this time.
No, that was a prediction. That was my phone ringing. Did you not hear it?
Oh, no.
It was right under the microphone and it was ringing.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't hear that.
But I do have to call them back. So, yeah, I purposely stay away from Laurie's stuff because I don't want that entering into. That's why I don't watch the news, and I don't want to. And people that this is what really annoys me about some followers, not those of ours, like our followers, but you know, the tourists that pop in and out. I could have told you that. Could you?
Oh my God!
Could you?
Yeah.
I don't live in your country. I don't watch your news.
Yeah.
And
I had one when I called Trump's indictment, and somebody came, well, I could have told you that, and it's like, really, because I actually have video evidence of a bunch of people hand wringing a year ago when I called that. You know, I was like, no, I have receipts.
Yeah,
like, don't. Yeah, people are dumb.
People are dumb.
Dummy heads.
But that's just life.
But not our listeners and not our clients.
No, we've got
just
one.
Just the poo-poo head trolls.
Yeah. What are they called? Poo-poo head.
Poo-poo head trolls.
But on that note.
I'm 55.
Dumb poo-poo heads.
Dumb poo-poo heads.
All right. But check out the show notes. It'll have links to our
all
websites,
of our stuff,
all of our events.
Join our Patreons, and we will start a Patreon for this. We're still just determining timing, and it won't be like our Patreons. It's just
it'll be one level
production. Yeah,
it'll be one level, but it'll be one level, but that'll be where we can do things like our lives together, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can have so much of us.
Yeah, well, we've spread ourselves out through the week. You get your podcast, The Awake Space, gets released on a Monday.
Yep.
Mine, The Beyond the Broomstick, gets released on a Wednesday, which I now have to go and edit after this one. And this podcast gets released on a Friday.
On Friday. You got
We
us
got
all
you covered.
Yeah. Alrighty, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I will see you next week.
See you next week.